Rewards work group meeting for 2022, and today is demo day and status updates, etc. But I'm happy to sort of announce that me and Nebs have been hard at work with the back end and front end for the new praise system, and we now have something that is not done, but it works good enough so I can show you and get some feedback, perhaps, or just happy to be able to share something. And then we have status updates from the work streams as regular, as usual. And one of the main things I hope that we can set today is, since we are nearing finish of the MVP version of the new praise system, is that we can set the dates for a trial quant and a post trial quant analysis session, etc. So we do some planning for that, and then we look into the meeting tracker bots and the regular stuff. But I thought we'll start. I moved praise to the top of the agenda, because it's always fun to start with the fun stuff. So let's start with the praise dashboard demo. So this is the new bot has been feeding praise data into the new database, and me as an administrator of the new praise system goes to the praise dashboard to see what has been happening. So this is the screen that greets me. There's a lot of details still to fix all over the place, like sorting this table, etc. But the main screen is like a feed of incoming praise into the system. And let's say now the main purpose of having this dashboard is to conduct the praise quantifications. And me as an administrator, that's the reason why I'm here. That I would like to perform a quantification for a praise period that has just been concluded. So let's say we are in the end of January. So I choose here quantification periods, and you can see that there we have two prior periods. So for the first week of January and the second week of January, and but now I need to create this new period. We have chosen not to allow the system to create periods automatically, because we believe that there will be situations where you would like to set a specific end date for a period, because of holidays, because of an airdrop, or because of a token launch, whatever. So we think it's easy enough to just create them when you need them, and we plan to create them bi-weekly. So let's call this last weeks of January, and set the end date to January 31st. So there we have a new praise period, and clicking on that, we get an overview of a summary of that period, and we can see there's quite a lot of praise that has been coming in connected to this period. And the next step, and of course, all of these praise have a praise scores of 0, because we haven't started the quantification yet. So the next step for me as an admin would be to assign quantifiers to this period, and I do that from the same screen. And this is a screen that the regular users don't have access to. So I choose assign quantifiers, and it tells me that the quantifier pool has 7 members, and using our algorithm and the settings we choose, for instance, how many each praise needs to be quantified by X amount of quantifiers, and all quantifiers should not have to quantify more than X amount of praise. Those are the two parameters deciding how the pool requirements. So in this
what
case,
about sorry to cut you off, Christopher. And then what about the overlap? So that like quantifiers are overlapping on the praise that they quantify. Was that a parameter?
sorry, how do you mean overlap?
Because we wanted more than one quantifier to look at each instance of praise and then take an average of it. So is that a parameter?
Yeah, that was the first parameter, as I said. So
Okay.
we set that parameter. So in this demo instance, we have set the first parameter to 3. Each praise should be quantified by 3 quantifiers,
Gotcha.
and
Yeah.
each quantifier should not have to quantify more than circa 50 praise.
Okay. Sorry, I understand. Go ahead.
One more thing.
So let's see.
Yeah,
sure.
What about like these parameters so people do not price whatever themselves? Like I'm not pricing whatever price Septimus get, let's say. Is that a parameter?
The system don't know that you two are friends. No.
No. I mean, not friends. Like just for myself. Like I do not count from my like. Imagine like okay, I price Septimus for recording whatever. I put 1,000,000 points or whatever, right? Then I think that would be wrong.
But you can't control which praise you get.
No, this is all random. The rules we have, and I just noticed today that the algorithm is broken. So you might see that that doesn't work. The rules we have is, of course, one quantifier should only be able to quantify one praise one time, and a quantifier should not be able to quantify their own praise. Those are the 2 guiding principles in addition to the parameters I mentioned. So let's see how if the algorithm does a good job of assigning quantifiers here. Press assign, and in a second here, now we have 6 quantifiers assigned. And I told you the cutoff, we said that it was the algorithm tries to assign circa 50 praise per quantifier, but of course it also depends on the number of it's impossible to divide it completely equally, because one of the rules are also that one quantifier always quantifies all praise for one praise receiver for one period. I think that makes sense, even if it was a long sentence, but it makes sense. And let's see. In this case, I happen to be Sydney 17. All these are randomly generated usernames. Hi, Nebs. I put the demo first on the agenda, so I didn't wait for you.
It's okay.
I am Sydney 17 in this case, and hopefully on my start page. No, I have to reload. One of the things that doesn't really work is. That's weird. I hope I didn't break something. Of course, so the system doesn't really update super smoothly yet. So that is one thing to fix. Now on the start screen, it tells me that that we have an open period. You see here on the period page that the last weeks of January we started. Now it's in the quantify mode because we assign quantifiers. That it means it moves from being an open period into being a period that is under quantification. And I, as a quantifier, have been assigned the praise. So I click there, and I see these are the praise receivers I have been assigned to quantify praise for. And yeah, let's choose one with not so many. Lorna. And this is the main quantification interface. So if I want to just make it really quick, I'll give Lorna some scores here. And that's it for one person. And this doesn't update as well unless I hard refresh and maybe even, yeah, Lorna, there you see 5 out of 5 items have been completed. And we also have the option in this interface to mark praise as duplicates. And in that case, I choose one praise here, and I would like to mark this as a duplicate. So we have the best option I've come up with so far is having, similar to GitHub, having some ID strings. These are ideally these would be just plain numbers, but now we use the system ID that we already have, so they become a little bit more difficult to read. But still, I think it's. Let's see if this is easy enough. So in this case, let's say I say that this praise is a duplicate of this praise. Then I would click the duplicate here, and I would write something 3-4. That's the one. And nothing happens because that is not implemented yet. But what is implemented is I also realized that this praise is just someone saying hello to someone. It's irrelevant. It's not really a praise. So I will mark this as I dismiss this, and I will do a hard reload, and hopefully that will be marked as dismissed. So that works.
Christopher, what happens when the praise is duplicate in the value side?
In the value side, we actually discussed this today. We have said that the duplicate praise are given no value at all, but we also were discussing previously today that we will make a setting that initially will allow you to give a duplicate praise a percentage value of the original. So we can put that setting to 0 if we don't want the duplicates to be worth anything at all. Or we could mark them as 10% or whatever if we see that there's still some value of we want to give something to the duplicates as well. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that's a really good idea. Yeah.
And I have another question about duplicates. First of all, this is amazing. It's so great to see. And
sure.
if you mark one as duplicate, is that just for the batch that you're quantifying or for all quantifiers?
No, it's only for the batch I'm quantifying. And in the current calculation, a duplicate is just counted as a 0, and the average score for one praise is what goes into the final summary. So if 3 quantifiers if 3 quantifiers quantify one praise, and the first quantifier give that praise a score of 10, the second one give that praise a score of 10, and the third one marks it as a duplicate or dismisses it. Then the average score for that praise would be 10 plus 10 plus 0 divided by 3. Simple as that for now.
Got it. Thanks.
I wonder if for an analysis, having a metric that could analyze all duplicates and then display that in the end, like, oh, this period there was X duplicate praises. So that if we had that wouldn't influence the different quantifiers that are analyzing the same set.
Yeah.
Would it? Sorry, I don't know if it made sense.
No, yeah. So, sorry, can you say that again?
So just what Tim asked, like, there's 4 people, let's say, analyzing the same person's praise. And then just one person out of the 4 marks the praise as duplicate, and the others don't. Would that still show, like, in a metric if we wanted to have that, or that would be influenced by the average?
No, it will show. All the raw data goes to the are included in the export.
Okay.
So each quantification, no matter if it's a duplicate, if it's a score, or there are those three: a score, a duplicate, or dismissed. Everything is included. And this is and how it affects other quantifiers. That is also a question. And the general rule here is that quantifiers will not be able to view the quantifications of other quantifiers before a period has been closed. So during the quantification, you can only see the praise you have been assigned, and you don't see the scores that other quantifiers have assigned to the same praise. But lastly, let's see how that looks. So going back to the last weeks of January, we see now Sydney, that is me. I have finished 3 out of my 60 items. And let's see, Lorna got some score here. And now we move into this page is the receiver summary for a whole period. So this is a page that will be publicly accessible for anyone that have received praise or given praise, that you can go into and see what praise did I receive for a certain period, and see a summary of your score. And also after the period has been closed, everything is disclosed. You can see how much, what did the different quantifiers give me? How did the quantifiers quantify my praise? So also answering again, Tam, here to your question. Here is you can see the details of the 3 quantifiers assigned to quantify this praise. And in this scenario, the average score is 34 plus 0 plus 0 divided by 3, which is 9, roughly. And that is basically it. That is the whole system. And then when the quantification is done, the administrator moves to this page again and closes the period. And that sort of makes puts a stop to any further quantifications, etc. And here there will be an export button, where you can export the CSV data file format and move into the next step, where the quantifiers can import the data into the spreadsheets, together do any final adjustments, and then move on to the RAD analysis and the distribution step. And of course, for instance, this final step of doing the final adjustments as a group, that is one feature that most likely will be included in the system in the future versions, and also the kind of analysis that Levi you talked about, all kinds of analysis. I think that in addition to the more in-depth analysis that Nagen and MS and Octopus are doing, we need like a base set of analysis for praise periods. So integrated in this interface, you can see some basic statistics, etc. Yeah, do we have any further questions?
Yeah, I had a question about the distribution of praise. This is just the current example. Like one quantifier got 60 and another one got 27. Like moving forward, can this be a potential issue with like larger quantifier pools, or with larger praise items? Because like the way you described it, get distributed, like all the praise of one person gets assigned to one quantifier at a time. Like you don't distribute that up. Could that be a potential issue?
That the quantifier that has been assigned to your set of praise for this period is giving you too low or too high scores. Is that what you mean?
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about how the praise items get distributed between different quantifiers. So, for example, in this case, say there's 6 people that got praised. Okay, not 6, that's too small. 12 people that got praised, and at least 6 of them have like 200 praises or something. And like what happens is that some quantifiers get a large amount of praise items and the rest don't get any. So can we split it up if it's too big?
That is what we have tried to avoid so far, because we splitting the praise up between different quantifiers, that doesn't allow you to mark duplicates in a fair way. So if some people's praise would be split up, but some others wouldn't, then that would be a very open avenue to unfairness. That when you see the full list for one user, you can easily see what is the duplicates or not. But if we split it up over many quantifiers, that becomes impossible. So I think that the issue of fairness is, and you can say, what happens if the two duplicate praise land on different sides of a period border, sort of. Then those two, the first period could be assigned to one quantifier, and the next period could be assigned to another quantifier, so that praise wouldn't be marked as a duplicate. But in all fairness, that it's the same rule for everyone. So I would make the assumption that over time that would still lead to a fair result, because everyone still at least is under the same rule.
Yeah,
And also you can think about the amount of praise someone could actually receive. So if you think like we're talking about a period of 15 days, if a person is praised every day, there would be 15 praises. To get like 200 praises in 15 days, it's nearly impossible, I think. So it feels like this cap of 50 per person is a good number, because I don't think it even gets to that. It's just now that we have so much retroactive praise to quantify.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking, what if a person received just like 5 praises? Would the system give 3 persons to one quantifier?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that. Hello?
Looks like you dropped there for a sec.
Yeah. Am I back?
Yeah.
But the screen dropped. So let's. That is weird. It doesn't. Yeah, I closed the period. That was bad. So now I actually cannot access the quantification interface anymore, because I closed the period. Otherwise, I would have shown that the actually my user Sydney here had a bunch of quantifiers assigned to me, and because you see that these are the number of praise each user have received over this period. So in order for me to get up to 60, I would have need to be assigned to at least like 5, 6, 7 praise receivers. So what did my sound come through?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. I think that concludes the demo. Unless we have more questions, do someone feel that they really miss some key core feature that we have overlooked?
So this is from, you're doing this all from the admin/quantifier view. And then if you just have the user role, what does it look like?
Roughly the same. You would see. You wouldn't see the quantifier pool. This is an administrative page where you add people to or remove them from the quantifier pool.
Mm-hmm. So quantifiers wouldn't see that either.
No.
Right.
And the quantification and this settings page that is empty right now, they wouldn't see. But the quantification periods page is visible. But when you because this is a transparency thing that you should be able to see who were the quantifiers, who received praise, what praise did they receive, and how was it quantified. But so the rule for the general user is the same as for quantifiers, that they can see everything in periods that are closed and nothing in periods that are still open to quantification. They can see the list of incoming praise, but they cannot see the scores before it's done.
Okay.
Okay, cool. So let's move on to other topics. And the system being at least almost ready means that we can plan for actually doing the trial quant for real.
Yeah, I'd like to know when it's ready, because I have almost 30 people ready for this thing, and so I'd hate to set a date and then not be able to follow through.
Yeah, it's a chicken and egg thing.
It's a development thing.
If we set a date, we'll make sure it'll be ready by then. Now it's what you saw is.
Yeah, I'd be more comfortable like when you tell me it's done, then we set a date, not just like it should be done around this time. So it's like, the picking the moving target while it's still being built.
Yeah, but we must be able to plan something in advance. Well,
I mean, we can know roughly, but like it's going to be hard to communicate something clear to 30 people when the development isn't finished.
Okay, but don't you think there's
be next week, but like whether it's Tuesday or Friday?
Yeah, but in that case, I say that we'll be done by next Friday, and then we'll have a chat then and make decisions for when to do the trial quant.
Yeah, perfect.
And then next, do you think that is reasonable? That gives us a week and
Yeah, I think
I'm probably not.
It should be done.
Go ahead, Neb.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I think that's reasonable. It should be done by then.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to communicate. Okay. All right. I'll think about it. And then from there, sorry, I'm just moving right into the topic there.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, ZEP and MS are going to finish the onboarding document from what we get from the trial quant.
Yeah, we just need those pictures, and I probably can take it from this recording call.
Yeah.
You would like there to be an onboarding document before to be used for the trial quant?
No, I think we'll be able to finish it from the trial quant.
Mm-hmm. But maybe it's good if there's like a rough outline, at least a skeleton before.
It's like 80% done.
Cool.
Yeah. And so there's 27 people signed up for quantifiers. I'm hoping to get a nice even 30. So like, I don't know, I'll probably just chill it one more time and see if 3 more people can come out. So that's kind of what I was shooting for the trial quant. So we're pretty much there. The quantifier role has been defined. People are ready to start trying it out and giving us feedback.
Mm.
And then I don't know if there's any parameters that we need to figure out from there. I think the rest of that stuff is all reward board.
Yeah, I think so too.
Why would there be any parameters?
Just some things like what Christopher was mentioning where we're creating the quant periods. It's like we have to figure out what the time commitment is going to be for quantifiers. You know, do we expect them to do 2 hours of work, 3 hours of work? How does that translate into like actual numbers of praise to quantify?
Okay.
So I think from a quantifier perspective, unless I missed something, I think it seems clear.
Yeah, and then we'll set the details when the praise system is done, when we have the onboarding doc. And so before that, I also during next week will try to make sure that we get the. So maybe if we are done with this second, we can move on and talk about the, for instance, the meeting tracker bot, because that is not necessarily included in the trial quant, but in the trial reward board exercise. We would very much like, of course, to have the source code data as well. So my goal would be to set up the source cred system as well during next week, so that we have the month of November in the system, and we can have that exported in the right way as well.
Yeah, I think we can maybe do that. I did get a meeting organized with it said, and we'll probably figure out how to do things in SourceGrid then. But as far as the weighted graph is concerned, like last time I showed it to everyone, there was a small issue that it was weighing based on how many people were in the meeting, but that's that has been solved. It just weighs based on how many meetings you attend. I'll just share.
So sorry, just let me pause you there. Sorry if I was unclear. I did not mean you that the goal would have to be that you are finished with the meeting tracker bot, because I know that is still some work left to do on that. I meant the source credit in general with the GitHub tracking, etc.
All right. Yeah, we
But
could
of
probably
course,
have
if you like to go at it and be done by next Friday with the meeting tracker bot, that would be a dream.
Yeah, I would try to. But this is like a test distribution. All these people attended one meeting. These people attended two meeting and 3 meetings. So it's about 0.99 per meeting. We can multiply this by a constant so that we have control over what's the worth of one meeting. But yeah, this should work for now.
Nice. And have you had any progress with the issue on how to integrate with the identities in SourceCred?
Yeah, about that, I'm gonna talk with Ed said. But from what I see is that we might need to make our own identities and then merge them separately with, and rather than using the ones from the Discord plugin. Because this is like an external plugin and those objects are created with an internal plugin. But I'll have to discuss this with them and try to figure out if we can just use the data created by the Discord plugin. And like if possible, if needed, we can maybe fork the Discord plugin and edit it a little bit. But then that's another mess to deal with because then you'll have to maintain it. That's still an option on the table if we're having complications.
Nice. I'm happy to hear that you're making progress. What would your own estimate be of when the meeting tracker bot could be done?
So it's dependent on information. So I think if the sync with it set goes great and I get the information I need to implement it, hopefully we should have a deployment by next week. But if it doesn't, then I have to contact someone else from SourceGrid. And they have limited they don't have many time slots right now because they took some time off. Slowly opening up. But I'll try to get this done in at least like 2 weeks. This has stretched on too long.
Nice. Yeah, it would be fantastic to get it into place. And over next week also I'll try to schedule a work session with HZ and Matteo and to adjust the settings for our current source code instance so that it's running with a tracking GitHub and Discourse that we already are tracking. And then about allocation, distribution, and analysis. I don't know if there's anything to say there. Nagan, do you have anything you would like to? Have you done any new work?
No, there's nothing to report. Once we're closer to the once the backend is finished, maybe we can kind of review if the file input format is still right. But for now, it's as it was.
Yeah. So when we have the export function ready, so those are the last two backend endpoints that we are working on. Is the importing of praise and exporting, because we also need to be able to import old praise. So importing and exporting, and when we have the exporting feature done, that we can make a test export of the test praise data, and just to see that the format works. So let's keep in contact about that.
Yeah, sure.
I had a question about the bot that will be used for inserting data into praise. Have we started working on it? And like, what are we using? Are we using like a text command or the new slash commands?
Slash command, hopefully. I haven't heard back from Casale yet after Christmas, New Year. But just before Christmas, he reported that he has had something up and running, not a fully working bot, but he was trying out commands and etc. And as I understood it, he had some difficulties of allowing you to praise more than one user in an easy fashion. It's not as simple as it used to be. You just praise name, because then you need to sort of select from a list, perhaps.
That won't work with slash commands. That's one issue with using them.
Yeah, I haven't seen that in action myself. I don't know if that would be a total deal breaker for using slash commands at all. If you would have to select from a list, I guess you can type something to help you find the right user, so you don't need to scroll through all the users on the server.
Yeah, you can type in search through the list, but the issue is that that only allows you to select one user at a time. And like the command has a fixed number of fields that you can add. So it won't work the way the current one is working. So we might have to work on parsing the data out of normal messages, and that's slightly problematic. Like looking at our previous ones, and I also made one parser on my own. So we might have to discuss what would be the best way to parse the data out,
Mhm.
because many people
Yeah.
don't follow any format with the mentioning.
No. No. So that is one separate thread that I haven't read up on yet, but I know that MS have been looking up into that. The glitches in the praising, that the people have not been receiving praise, or praise givers have not been able. Juanca, for instance, haven't been able to praise, as far as I know. The bot hasn't picked up their information. So I guess if we were to develop a bot using the old method of text parsing, we would run the risk of ending up in the same situation, sort of. But let's have a discussion that I need to hear what Casala has come up with, and I also told him that he could reach out to you, Vai, if he had questions about bots, etc.
Yeah, they did reach out, but then they didn't communicate anything. Like they wanted help, but then I think they disappeared for a few days. Maybe they were taking time off. But yeah, that's why I asked Rose that I can get some information about it.
Yep. Cool. Yeah, last thing here added, praise on behalf bot. Yeah, I discussed this with Griff also. Praise by proxy, or praise on behalf of someone. Who added this to the agenda?
Yeah, I added this just because we've been having this discussion for a while, and then it was way more controversial than I thought it would be. And people didn't feel happy about not having the voice praise being recorded by someone. And I think that makes sense. Like, verbally praising is a feature that successfully worked in our culture. So taking out that feature maybe would be a bad move. I always think that there's ways to like solving that culturally, but then I had a long talk with Griff, and he had really good points of like it would be easier to just do that through a bot and not have to change the culture because this culture is working for us. So Vi, you had given that idea of praising on behalf of someone else. And I think that could really work if we had like permissions for who can do that, if it wasn't just anyone that can praise.
Yeah, totally. I think we can probably make it something that's only available to maybe transparency or some other working group, like only people that do cross praising. I think that's Ivy and Mount Manu and sometimes Optimus. Or one thing we could do is just have that that command can only be run by one person, like one account, one proxy account. We can call it like TC praises or something else, and that access to that account is shared by whoever's doing the praising. So that would involve trusting one of the stewards to share access with only people that are trustable.
And since the praise bot will be integrated into the praise the backend and that authentication system, we could also do the management from there. You saw, I think you saw the screen where you could add quantifiers, and we could easily manage that thing there. We actually talked about this today, that we would upgrade the quantifier pool screen to being more of a user administration screen, because we also need to be able to mark people as administrators, even though not so many have to be or should be administrators. And if we develop a feature like this, it would be nice if you could, from the praise dashboard, just mark a person and say that this person has the permissions to praise on behalf of other users, and that means that when they access that bot command next time, they can that praise goes through. And if they don't have the permission, that they will be told by the bot that sorry, you don't have those permissions.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think we might have to change the backend a little bit to also store the information of who cross-posted it, and and do we want that to be shown to the qualifier? I think we don't. We just store
No,
it for
we don't. But
analysis
we
purposes.
want it for analysis purposes. It's only one additional data field. We would store the giver and the receiver would be identical, and then we would have the additional field of the person being the proxy person. So technically, it's a really small addition to what we are already doing, and when it comes to quantifying, etc., it wouldn't affect the system at all. So it's only when we export the raw data we want that information to be included. And I also had a discussion with this about this with Griff, and so I know it's we have placed it high up on the wish list for future versions. And depending on how high it is, it could be a feature worth focusing on before we release what we call the version 1, the stuff that happens in between the trial quant and the MVP version and the version 1. We haven't planned any like additional features during that period, but more like making the thing into an easy installable, stable open source system that could be used by many communities. But maybe this qualifies as a thing that we want to add.
Yeah, this feels quite important if there is a space.
Yeah. On the other hand, we just continue doing what we have done for long time. It's also possible that to praise by proxy, but it only skews the data a little bit. That it looks as Mount Manu is a big praiser, for instance. So that of course works as well. So, do we have anything else to bring up these last 10 minutes, or should we cut this meeting short?
Need 2 more people to become quantifiers, and we get 30. So, I mean, now's the time.
Yeah. It's your civic duty as a community member.
Yeah, praise duty.
Yeah, praise duty. It's like your duty, but more fun.
Yeah, exactly.
No, and I if we end up having like 50, you need to quantify 50 praise per person and a 2-week period. That will take you like, I don't know, 20 minutes, 30. It's not a big amount of time. So just sign up. Yeah, maybe that is was the final words of this meeting. Maybe we're here at the end. Seems so.
Great.